Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Unquestionably Raw podcast. Tonight, we are joined by two special guests. We've got Chris Hines at Simply Hoops on Twitter, and we've got Julian Lamenzo back with us. Thank you, fellas, for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to kind of get into tonight's rankings in just a moment, but I'm going to kind of start off the show and just roll through a little bit of news and notes, kind of the tail end of last week into over the weekend. Donatas Motiejunas, again, his contract is in limbo. Both the Rockets and Motiejunas, including his agent B.J. Armstrong, are looking for a way to get Motiejunas to the Brooklyn Nets. You know how that's going to work, I don't know. How accurate that report is, I'm not exactly sure, but I do know Motiejunas was told to kind of leave the team and stay home for a little bit instead of dressing for Saturday night's game. So hopefully this contract, being in limbo can be resolved pretty quickly and Motiejunas can get on an NBA court soon. The CBA is hopefully close to being agreed upon. They've hit a latest snag with the player licensing and player likeness rights, which the players obviously want to go to the Players Association side, kind of like the NFL does now. Whether that affects any kind of video game licensing in the future, we don't know, but hopefully this isn't too much of a snag and they can get that agreed upon. They're so close.
If that's the biggest snag, I don't think we have much to worry about, considering what happened a few, 5 years ago with that big mess.
Yeah, hopefully not. I mean, they're close.
They're not stupid. Both sides are making way too much money. They don't want to mess this up.
Yeah, and we've got NBA kind of return of Reggie Williams back to the Pelicans. He signed over the weekend, and he debuted with 17 points last night off the bench. He took the spot of Anthony Brown, who was waived, and he's back to the D-League.
So Reggie Williams will be in New Orleans for a couple weeks before they bring someone else in.
Yeah, it's going to be a revolving door, basically, for them. So, you'll see a bunch of different names, especially when he
shows the confidence they have in Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I mean, now Hield actually started the last two games, so I think they're trying to kind of push him into a little bit more confident role. So, we'll have to see what happens. Now, Williams did play the small forward because basically all they have is Solomon Hill right now, which is not much. Couple injury news and notes. Jeremy Lin is returning to the Brooklyn Nets this week.
He's coming back tonight.
Yeah, he's coming back tonight. Good point. And Derek Favors is nearing return from injury. He went through a full practice today, so hopefully
that's why you picked him up on your fantasy team. I was wondering why you did that.
Hey, got to stay on top of the news and got to stay winning at the fantasy team. I've had some bad luck the last few weeks, so. But let's roll right into the rankings of what everybody's tuned in for. Chris, I'm going to go to you first. Looking at Rookie of the Year, could you count down your top 5 rookies from 5 to 1 for me?
Yeah, so at 5, I have Malcolm Brogdon. 4, Brandon Ingram. 3, Dario Saric. 2, Jamal Murray. And number 1 has to be Joel Embiid. That's not even a question.
Yes, absolutely. I like we talked about before the show. I don't know that anybody's going to have Embiid other than number 1 on their list. And it's funny because obviously he doesn't play in every game, and he's only playing about 23, almost 24 minutes a game. So it says a lot about this class as we talked about before. But Julian, want to go to you? Give me your top 5 rookies. Counting down from 5 to 1.
All right, at number 5, I got Jaylen Brown. At number 4, I got Jamal Murray. 3, I got Malcolm Brogdon.
Yep.
Number 2, I got Pascal Siakam.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Number 1, I got Joel Embiid.
Nice.
Nice.
Takes into the top 5. I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been playing he started all season, played a pivotal role as an energy guy, gets rebounds, can defend a little bit. So with the Raptors, winning games, I can definitely see him in the top 5.
Absolutely.
All right, Matt, you're up. Give me your top five.
I dropped him again. Jamal Murray, I have 5. I mean, he had a decent game the other day, but he's kind of had some stinkers. But that's to be expected. He's young. 4, you're going to like this, Julian. I got Billy Hernangomez.
Nice.
He's been fantastic for the Knicks with the energy, the rebounding, the defense. Came up huge last night against the Lakers, too. Got him a lot of second-chance points with his rebounding. Did well. I got Brogdon, number 3. Dario Saric, number 2. And I got Joel Embiid, number 1.
Nice. Okay. So I kept mine kind of based off of, the last 10 games or so. So I got a little surprise here. I guarantee you nobody has thought of this guy as one of the top rookies. I would say just based off of the last 10 games and what he's done for the Memphis Grizzlies, I had to put Troy Williams at 5.
Nice.
He's filled in nicely for Chandler Parsons and James Ennis, both out with injuries. Just the hustle plays. He's averaging almost 2 steals a game, 9 points a game. He's been a spark plug for them, all while finding a way to win without Mike Conley. So I had to put him in there just to give him recognition. I was teetering along the lines of Brandon Ingram there, but Ingram's just too inconsistent right now for me. Jamal Murray's number 4. He's about to be off the list if he keeps having the up and down games. 6 points and 2 points against was it Washington and Orlando? You should be lighting both of those.
You know what it is though? Because I've actually watched a few. I've started to watch the Nuggets a little bit more. They don't really look, like I said, and we talked about it last week. They don't really look for him.
No, he has to
because he's in there with Wilson Chandler and Jameer Nelson, and Chandler, he's taking a lot of shots. Mm-hmm. Jameer Nelson's going to take his share of shots, and he just, if he's open, sometimes they'll throw it to him. He's kind of, got to hope he gets it on the outlet, can just attack on the fast break.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Murray is we all know he can shoot. He needs the ball in his hands. And then, like you just said, Matt, you've got Nokic on the second unit and you've got Chandler there. It's kind of hard to find shots. And then if Barton gets pushed to that second unit when Harris comes back, it's going to be tough for Murray to carve out a role, consistently.
That's why I think they need to bench Jameer Nelson and let Murray play the point for now. You got nothing to lose.
I agree. I think
Boudier's been stinking it up.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Nelson is kind of just past his prime, and if you have a young guy like Murray, just let him flourish in that role. Why give these minutes to Nelson? It's not like he's going to go back to his championship form Orlando days. Let that go.
Exactly.
Right. And they're doing that with Hernangomez. They let him play. I think he had 4 threes the other night in limited minutes.
Are we talking about Juancho?
Yeah, Juancho Hernangomez. They put him in there at the power forward spot. Now and again, and he shows that he's athletic, and can kind of be a spark plug. So why not do the same for Murray? If Nelson's kind of the veteran role, I don't know. The only devil's advocate to that is Nelson's probably not going to accept sitting on the bench, so you'd probably have to trade him for something. So I don't know. Malcolm Brogdon's number 3 for me. He's been the model of consistency under Jason Kidd. 9 points a game on 47% shooting in his last 10 games. 47% from 3 on the year. So, he's pretty much locked into that 3 or 4 spot for me this year. Dario Saric is number 2. Up and down all year, but basically averaging, 49% shooting in 3 games last week. Did pretty well. There's not a lot of the rookie class, so you're kind of grasping at straws for where to put guys behind the number 1 guy with who's Joel Embiid. What more can you say about Embiid? 18 points, almost 8 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. In just under 24 minutes. So and he doesn't play every game.
2 of the 5 guys on most of our lists aren't even really a part of this rookie class. They were all drafted a couple years ago.
Right, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, next year I think the draft class is going to be a very high draft class, so you can see you'll see the disparity between the two classes. But Matt, as you touched on before, you kind of have to wait 2, 3,
Absolutely.
maybe even 4 years so you can fully judge a class.
Because that, like we said before, that 2013 class is just now starting to show that it was actually a lot of good players in that draft class.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to roll into the MVP rankings. Chris, if you'll count down your 5 to 1 for the MVP candidates for me.
I think I got a little bit of a shocker here. Number 5, I have Kemba Walker.
Ooh,
Nice.
Okay. I can see that.
Number 4, I have LeBron. 3 is Durant. He's been crazy efficient this season. 2, James Harden, and number 1 is Russell Westbrook.
Okay. Not bad. Julian, who you got for your 5?
All right. Number 5, I got Marcus Gasol. It's a big reason why the Grizzlies are still winning games. Number 4, I got the triple-double machine, Russell Westbrook. At number 3, I got Mr. 2020 and 0, Chris Paul.
Okay.
At number 2, I got LeBron James. And number 1, I got James Harden.
Nice. Okay. No Durant in there. That's all right.
No Warriors.
No Warriors.
He's doing it like the media. They're not going to give a Warrior the MVP. It won't happen.
At all.
Okay. Matt, what you got for your 5?
Okay, like I always do, you have to be top 4 in your conference. I'm trying to do it kind of how the media will now. So at 5, Kristaps Porzingis.
Oh,
The Knicks are top 4. They are top 4, so I'm putting KP.
You're trying to push them up to that number 2.
My Knicks, they're getting there.
They're getting there.
I picked them to finish number 2, so that's why they have to be my Knicks. At 4, I got Kawhi Leonard still. He's basically been number 4 every week for me. 3, I dropped him down a little bit. I got Durant. 2, James Harden. 1, LeBron James. The only reason Westbrook's not on my list is because right now I think they're sitting at 6th in the West, even though they're on pace to win 50 games. That's the only reason he's off my list.
You definitely took the shock value away from Chris with that Porzingis.
I have to.
5 there.
I look for any way to get my Knicks in there.
Ooh. I don't know. I can't say that Porzingis. Obviously, he's the most exciting player on the team, and Julian, you can kind of expand on this a little more. But if you were looking at kind of the leader of the team, it's still Melo, I think, for right now. And they're pushing towards kind of leaning to go with Porzingis, but I think right now it's still Melo, unfortunately.
The reason I like Porzingis so much more, he can have a bad offensive game but still affect the game with his defense.
yes.
Carmelo Anthony, if he has a bad shooting game, you get nothing from him.
What do you have? 7 blocks? Yeah, last night?
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Lakers.
Yeah.
Okay. My MVP rankings, I've got Kawhi Leonard sitting at the 5 spot. I've got Durant at number 4. He slid back a little bit, obviously, from the last time we did this. I've got LeBron James at number 3. I've got Westbrook all the way up to number 2 because they are finally winning games. He was able to pull out the win late, last game and against the Celtics. And going with number 1, I've got James Harden.
Nice.
I don't know that James will win it, but just as far as I'm concerned, he's been the most exciting to watch. I know a lot of people say, well, you're missing out on what Westbrook brings, but a lot of the things that Westbrook does, are kind of, crazy shots, still and make some bad decisions because he takes chances. And I think Harden's kind of cut down on as many chances and has learned to trust his teammates a little bit more while still being able to be a dominant scorer. So until Westbrook can do that, I can't put him in the number 1 spot.
Actually,
so now we're going to go to our
hey, hold on, Pete. Go ahead, Chris.
I have something interesting. I wrote an article on my blog last night about just the MVP race and everything. And Karl Malone is the only player to ever win MVP, and his team wasn't ranked the 1st or 2nd seed in the playoffs.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Was this the short season? Was it 98, 99?
Yeah, it was 98, 99, exactly.
I was shocked he won it that year. I remember I thought that year crazy. I think that's the year I think Alonzo Mourning should have actually won it, or Kidd, but they gave it to Karl Malone.
Yeah, his team was third. They were the Utah Jazz were third going into the playoffs, and no other player. Well, of course, before the leagues combined and everything back in the '60s and everything, no other player has won MVP that wasn't in first or second place. So it seems like you pretty much have to be a lock in that first or second seed to get that MVP. So.
See, they always say you got to, like the media, typically you got to win 50 games, but they just don't really want to say that if you're not top 2, we're not going to give it to you.
Basically.
So that really narrows it down to LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and Kevin Durant. And, well, not Kevin Durant because the Warriors won't get it. So basically it's going to come down to Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James.
Yep.
I still go with my pick of the preseason. I think LeBron ends up winning it. I know.
Yeah. I do too.
But do you think Kawhi could kind of sneak in there? He's been Defensive Player of the Year twice now. It seems like the media loves this guy. So
he should.
I think he could. But, I think plus a lot of people are coming off that finals performance by LeBron, and he's just got that. I think he just has that. The media loves him again. So I think I think he's gonna win it. Harden, if anybody does it, I think that could not. It'll be Harden. If the Rockets get third, then Harden has a chance.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same that if somehow now he's not going to win it, but I think to be in the somehow conversation to Julian's point, if you look at Marc Gasol, if they somehow get up to 4, being the Memphis Grizzlies for everything that they've endured without not having Randolph for a stretch of games. Of course, not having Chandler Parsons, not having Mike Conley now for probably at least 6 more weeks. That's a lot on Gasol's shoulders. So, he has to be somewhere in that conversation. Maybe not top 3, but, at least get, a couple votes from the media. So, all right, we're going to go into the power rankings of our top 10 teams. So, we'll kind of do it going from the 10th spot to the 6th spot, Chris, to start it out, and I'm going to go to you. So count down your 10th team to your 6th team for me.
So at 10, I have the Celtics, 9, the Thunder, 8, Grizzlies, 7, Rockets, and 6 is the Hornets.
Okay, nice. All right. Julian, what do you have, 10 to 6?
All right, number 10, I got the Hornets. 9, I got the Grizzlies. 8, I got the Thunder. 7, I got the Jazz. And 6, I got the Rockets.
All right. What about you, Matt?
10, my New York Knicks. Yes.
Loving them Knicks.
I almost put them in last week, but I couldn't. I just looked at, but this time I can put them. Yes, I can. They're top 4. They're top 4 in the conference. They're really tied for 3rd. Give me the Knicks.
Right.
9, I've got the Thunder. 8, the Memphis Grizzlies. 7, the Raptors. 6, the Utah Jazz.
Oh, you got the Jazz? Okay.
I got the Jazz high just because they're record. I think they're 14-9 right now, or 15-10. Then you got Hayward coming back, Hill, Faves is coming back, and they're doing this without those guys. Rodney Hood. So, yeah, I got the Jazz 6.
Okay. I've got the Hornets sitting at number 10. Obviously, Kemba Walker's everything to that team. Definitely will be an all-star this season. If he's not, then something's wrong. Basically, if you look at that team, their offense drops off a cliff whenever Kemba is not in the game. But they've got some tough road games coming this week. So
they're down 15-7 right now to Indiana.
Indy's been coming on lately.
They're getting healthy.
Yeah. Number 9, I've got the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think obviously with Westbrook being there, it puts them over the top. But they're going to have a test this week. They've got Utah. And Utah's defense is very good. But you've also got Portland, where you got a matchup against Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum. So, want to see kind of what the Thunder can do against both of those teams.
And there will be no easy layups against the Jazz.
No, there definitely will not be. I've slid down to the 8th spot. I've dropped the Clippers down because they are 5-5 in their last 10, and basically no lineup in the NBA, no starting lineup in the NBA has played more than the Clippers with Paul, Reddick, Mbah Moute, Griffin, and Jordan. Basically playing 411 minutes together. So you got to find more out of that second unit other than Jamal Crawford and sprinkles of, Doc's son, Austin, kind of having a game or two here or there. They've got to figure it out because this is basically the last year we're going to see Chris Paul and Blake Griffin together, I think. And then JJ's a free agent as well. So looking at number 7, I've got the Utah Jazz. Top 10 offense and defense. I believe they're 7th in offense, 5th in defense. So, they're racking up wins when the schedule's in their favor. If they can get healthy with Favors and George Hill coming back, they'll push even more up the ladder in the rankings for me. And then number 6, I've got the Memphis Grizzlies. 6 wins in a row. A team that does not have Mike Conley. Their defense has just been, pretty good. Actually really good, I should say. Marc Gasol gets first triple-double of the year. He's able to dish out assists at an alarming rate, especially for a big man. So, they're going to be right there all season. I'm actually shocked by them, being able to stay where they are with Conley injured and then no Chandler Parsons. So. But going back to you, Chris, give me your 5 to 1 for the team power rankings.
So I have 5. Raptors at 4, Spurs 3, Cavs at 2, and of course the Warriors are number 1 right now, even after that loss to the Grizzlies.
Okay. Julian, who you got for your 5?
All right, at 5, I got Toronto. 4, I got the Clippers. 3, I got the Spurs. 2, I got the Cavs. And 1, I got the Warriors.
Okay. What about you, Matt? Give me your 5.
I've got the Clippers at 5. I've got the Rockets at 4. Spurs 3. I've got the Cavs at 2, and I've got Golden State at 1.
Okay. I think we're all unanimous with our number 1, but I'm going to count down my 5. I've got the Rockets sitting at 5th. Basically, they beat OKC. They beat Boston. Right there in the middle of the pack defensively, which, in their last 10 games, I should say. And that's good considering they're all offense. And it's taken a dramatic turn since Patrick Beverley's come back. So, with a soft schedule this week, I could see them definitely extending their 6-game winning streak into a 10-game winning streak easily.
Yeah, they got the Nets tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting whatever happens with Monty Eunice, just because you cut Bobby Brown, and poor Bobby Brown, worked his way back into the league, and obviously he wasn't playing much, but now you're in a situation where you kind of have to move a guy. Neither side wants to, have him on the team, so I don't know what happens there, but got the Raptors number 4. And I want to bring up a little bit with the Raptors. We kind of got a response to our rankings last week. It mainly fell on me just because I said the Raptors didn't have much of a bench and, things like that. Now, we have no bias against the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, I have them as the 4th best team. They're scoring right at the same rate that the Golden State Warriors are scoring, 114 points per 100 possessions. And they're doing that between mid-range jumpers and isolations. And, they can't beat Cleveland, but they can beat everybody else as far as the Eastern Conference. So the thing I wonder with the Raptors, do they have enough depth on their team to withstand a long playoff run? So no bias against the Raptors at all. That's my only question. They're a good team, but are they going to be an elite team come playoff time?
I think just from what you said, just when the playoffs come, the game really slows down. So the isolation ball, that won't get you a win. It will not get you a championship. You need to rebound and play as a team to get easy wins. And the mid-range game is productive, as we've seen for DeMar DeRozan. But just going one-on-one, in the game isn't going to get you 4 wins out of 7. It just won't happen.
Right, and they've got to get more out of Patrick Patterson. Obviously, Terrence Ross has been phenomenal off the bench. They've got to figure out what's going on with Corey Joseph. He has good games, and then he has games where he just doesn't show up. He was great for them last year, and especially is going to be needed if Lowry struggles at all.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you give my guy Fred VanVleet a chance.
Yeah, he's a
I
nice
like VanVleet. He's going to get after it defensively. Yes.
Nice. All right, so going to 3, I've got the Spurs sitting there. They're looking like the Spurs, obviously, top 10 defense. They do still, kind of struggle sometimes with the pick and roll ball handlers that can score, but overall, on both sides of the ball, Kawhi Leonard's just leading that team. They also have a little bit of a softer schedule this week, so maybe they can rest a couple guys, chug forward to a obvious playoff and high seed berth, high seed playoff berth, I should say, when that time comes around. Cavaliers second. The starting 5 obviously has been killing it. Kevin Love, has been killing it. A little concerned with the J.R. Smith long-term injury, if that's going to linger. Not much of a bench. Obviously, they had to fill the role, or not much of a backcourt bench because they had to fill the role of J.R. Smith with DeAndre Liggins. Was signed, after playing in the NBA a couple years ago. Still need a backup point guard. Dunleavy did not play in the last game. He hasn't looked right this season. And Channing Frye's out with his mom, passing away. So hopefully he comes back and they can, string along a long winning streak there. They get a test of the Grizzlies this week, so we'll have to see, what happens there. Warriors number 1. I'm not going to penalize them too harsh because they lose to the Grizzlies. Everybody has a bad game. Obviously Clay dropped 60 this week. That was the big or last week. That was the big highlight. They smack Utah, but, of course, Utah has some injuries. So, overall, when they come rolling, it's hard to stop Golden State when everybody's, firing on all cylinders. So we are going to go into our top 5 players at each position. This is solely based on this season only. We're going to start with the point guard spot, and Chris, I'm going to go to you. If you'll give me your top 5 point guards, counting down from 5 to 1 for me.
So at 5, I wanted to put Conley here. I just feel like he doesn't get enough respect. People just kind of really disregard him because of his injuries, and it's understood. So at 5, I had Conley. At 4, Chris Paul. 3, Kyrie. 2, Westbrook. And number 1 for point guard is James Harden. It's just the fact that Houston was able to put shooters around him and then one rim runner and Clint Capella. It's a perfect scenario. So now when he comes off a screen, he can either go to the rim, pass over here, pass over there, or just throw a lob. So James Harden is my best. Is like the best point guard in the league for me right now.
Interesting. No Steph Curry on that list. Wow. Okay. No Warriors love so far. That's all right. Julian, who do you have in your top 5?
All right, number 5, I got Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Number 4, I got Kemba Walker.
Okay.
3, I got Stephen Curry. 2, I got Russell Westbrook, and at number 1, I got Chris Paul.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
Matt, who you got?
I got Kyrie at 5. I got Chris Paul at 4. Westbrook 3. Harden 2. I still got Curry at 1. Maybe there's a little bias there. But, you look at his numbers. The points are going to be down, obviously. The assists are down a little bit, but that's to be understood. He doesn't have the ball as much. But his field goal percentage is around the same, and his three-point percentage is down. But what that tells me is, and just watching all the games, he's finishing so much better at the rim this year. And he finished at a high percentage last year. But he really, and Kurt Lowe said it the other day, that Curry's just become an elite finisher at the rim. And you're seeing it when he's not making shots, he can get to the rim and finish.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so my 5, I've got number 5, I've got Kyrie Irving. Number 4, I've got Stephen Curry. Number 3, I slid Westbrook in there. Number 2, I've got Chris Paul. And number 1, I said it last week, I'd have James Harden as a point guard, not a 2 guard. So I held true to that. He's my number 1 on that list. So I wanted so bad to put Kemba Walker over Kyrie Irving, but I couldn't do it. I'm a huge Damian Lillard fan too, but just based on them not winning, couldn't fit him in there. So, all right, Chris, going back to you, give me your top 5 shooting guards, counting down from 5 to 1.
So I had Bradley Beal at 5. You know, he stays healthy. He's one of the best in the league. I have McCollum. For 3, Dwayne Wade. 2 is Jimmy Butler. Well, you can kind of play him as shooting guard and small forward, but I still put Butler number 2. And definitely Klay Thompson is first. Definitely Klay.
Okay, nice. All right, Julian, who do you have?
All right, at number 5, I have Dwayne Wade. 4, I have C.J. McCollum. At 3, I have Klay Thompson. 2, I got DeMar DeRozan. And 1, I got James Harden.
Okay, yeah. I had a feeling you put him at shooting guard when he wasn't on your point guard list.
Yeah.
Not bad. Okay. All right, Matt, who do you have for your 5?
I'm sticking with my guy from last time at 5. I'm sticking with J.J. Redick. I'm gonna go Avery Bradley at 4. I got C.J. McCollum 3, DeRozan at 2, and I got Klay Thompson 1 now.
Okay. All right. I've got let's see, shooting guard. My 5th is C.J. McCollum, just barely over Avery Bradley. 4 is DeMar DeRozan. 3, I slid Antetokounmpo over to the 2.
Nice. You did what I did last time.
I kind of had to do it.
That's the beautiful thing. You can put him at all 5 positions.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to look at the small forwards, and the guy I had 5 for my small forward, I had to get him on the list. So I kind of gave some love to Antetokounmpo there. Klay Thompson, I have 2, and then Jimmy Butler at number 1. Butler could either be a small forward or a shooting guard. But for rankings, I put Butler there. Klay he has the 60-point games, and then he has a couple games where he's not obviously the number 1 option, sometimes not even number 2. Butler gives it every single night as the number 1 option.
Here's a crazy stat for you, though, and it may have changed a little bit, but probably not much. He actually leads the team in shot attempts.
Klay does?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, he's actually getting, I think, like 0.1 or 0.2 more shots a game than he did last year.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but like Sam said yesterday, Sam being the Warriors guy, the one guy on that team with Klay, he's going to hunt shots.
Oh yeah,
and he does not care.
Yeah,
he does not care. He is going to hunt shots. He's not changing anything.
Nice. All right, we're going to roll into the small forward position. Chris, who do you have from 5 to 1?
this one might be a shocker too, but I'm pretty high on this guy right now. He's playing with the dumpster fire squad in Sacramento. Rudy Gay.
Ooh, okay, all right.
I have Harrison Barnes at 4.
Okay.
Since 3rd. This is always hard, but just for the sake of efficiency, I put LeBron at 2 and Durant at 1.
Okay, all right. Who do you have, Julian? 5 to 1.
At 5, I got Paul George. 4, I got Giannis Antetokounmpo. At 3, who do I have?
Kawhi, maybe?
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard. 2, I got LeBron James, and 1, I got Kevin Durant.
Okay, all right. 2 in a row that's got Durant.
Nice.
Slotted at number 1. Who do you have, Matt?
All right, at 5, I've got Giannis Antetokounmpo. 4, Jimmy Butler. 3, Kawhi Leonard. I got Durant at 2 and LeBron at 1.
All right, so you stuck with LeBron.
Yeah, well, I had last time we did it. I didn't. I had LeBron 1 last week. I would have had Durant 1, but he kind of had a little down week this week, so I just based it on that.
Yeah, I've got 5. I've got Gordon Hayward. Just everything he does for the Utah Jazz. Now you can put Rudy Gobert in there as the as kind of slotted right next to him. As kind of the top echelon player
Pete,
for that
question:
team.
when we did our preseason top 25, and I had Hayward on there. Now is that you can see it now, right?
He's been killing it. That's definitely valid. I'd have to put him in my top 25 players for sure. He's in that range. I think I was high on a guy like Andrew Wiggins, but Wiggins, man, he
plays
does things.
He plays no defense.
Yes,
and he's so capable of being a great lockdown defender, but he won't play defense.
Yeah, it's hard for me because everything I thought that the Timberwolves were going to be, they're going to be. I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs, but I thought they were going to be vastly improved. They were going to be right on the edge of the playoffs. They were going to be, yeah, they were going to be hunting, for wins, and they just been bad.
I still have hope in the Timberwolves. I still have hope. They're a pretty young squad.
Mm-hmm.
I got some hope.
I had them in the conference finals. Yeah, I did. The way I had the seeds go, it worked out for me to put them in the conference finals, but that's not going to happen now.
No, definitely not going to happen. I've got Paul George 4. He's back, and obviously the Pacers have hit a little bit of a stride, so to speak. So hopefully they'll continue to win some games and get to where I thought they were going to be. Maybe not as high as 4 in the conference, but at least be right there in the 6 to 8 range come playoff time. Kawhi at 3. And the only reason he's at 3 is because you've got Kevin Durant at 2. Matt, just as you said, you beat me to it, just having a little bit of a down week compared to the week before. He's slotted right behind LeBron, who's my number 1. So going to the power forward rankings. Give me your 5 to 1, Chris.
So this is another shocker. Julius Randle at 5.
Nice.
I feel like he's growing this year. He's growing. He's getting a lot better. Aldridge is 4. Blake Griffin is 3. He could be higher if he got some footwork. Draymond is 2, and of course Anthony Davis has to be number 1. Man, has to.
Okay. All right, Julian, who do you have?
At number 5, I got Kristaps Porzingis.
Nice.
At number 4, I got Draymond Green.
Okay.
3, I got Kevin Love. 2, I got Blake Griffin. And 1, it's not even close, Anthony Davis.
Absolutely.
Nice.
All right, Matt, who you got?
I've got Blake Griffin at 5.
Yep.
Kevin Love at 4. Draymond Green at 3. I got Kristaps Porzingis at 2.
I knew
Yes.
When Griffin.
Yes, that's my hey. Yes. Hey, let everybody know out there that you and I both have been really high on this guy since last season before the season started.
Oh,
yes, and then 1, I got Anthony Davis.
Okay. All right. I like it though. I like the boldness.
Yes.
All right. So 5 to 1. I've got Blake Griffin at 5. Kristaps Porzingis at 4. I've got Draymond Green at 3. Kevin Love sits at the 2 spot, and obviously his resurging, resurge season so far has played a big part in that. And Anthony Davis, I mean, come on. If this team was winning, he'd be right there in the MVP conversation for sure. I kind of worried last year. The debate was Towns and Anthony Davis. No comparisons needed. I would say you could probably even put Porzingis as a comparison over Towns at this point. Going to our last final category of the episode, we've got the center spot counting down from 5 to 1. Who do you have, Chris?
I didn't know where else to put this guy. I kind of just left him at center. Giannis is 5.
Nice.
He could be anywhere. He could be anywhere. So he's 5. DeAndre Jordan at 2. Marc Gasol is, I didn't know whether to put Cousins or Gasol at 3. So I have Gasol at 3, Cousins 2, and Karl Anthony Towns is 1.
Ooh, Karl Anthony Towns at 1. Okay. That's bold. All right. So, Julian, who do you have as your top 5?
At number 5, I got Rudy Gobert. 4, I got Karl Anthony Towns. At 3, I got Andre Drummond. 2, I got DeAndre Jordan. And 1, I got DeMarcus Cousins.
Okay. Matt.
All right, my list of centers is exactly the same as the last time we did this in the exact same order. 5, Joel Embiid. And I got a stat for you here. The 76ers, their net rating, they have the net rating of a playoff team when Joel Embiid is in the game. So it says just how good he is. Yes. So if he could just play, if they would play him every game and give him more minutes, they could be a playoff team in the weak Eastern Conference.
Comes back.
Then 4, I got Marc Gasol again. 3, Rudy Gobert. 2, Karl Anthony Towns. 1, DeMarcus Cousins.
Okay. As much as I wanted to go with Embiid in there, I still have him. I've actually got him 7th on my list because usually when I flesh out the top 5, I have to do a top 10 just so I don't miss anybody. At 5, I've got Karl Anthony Towns. I just don't think that where Minnesota is right now, I can put him any higher on the list. He did beat out Hassan Whiteside, so if that's anything. 4, I've got Andre Drummond. 3, I've got Rudy Gobert. 2, I've got Marc Gasol. He's been everything, as Julian mentioned earlier, for that Memphis Grizzlies team. And DeMarcus Cousins is number 1. Yes, it's the worst run franchise in
Professional sports.
In professional sports. But DeMarcus has just been killing it. And, if you can get some pieces around him, maybe they can turn it around. But
good luck with that with Vivek Ranadive running that team.
Yeah, I'm not real high on it at all.
Isn't that the guy who said they should play 4-on-5?
Yes, it's him.
It is.
God.
And Chris, I know you're high on Rudy Gay, and we've kind of touched.
You know what? He's been fantastic for them this year.
Yeah,
he played the best defensively. He's been better. It's probably the best defense he's played in his career. He's been more efficient offensively. He's actually got a lot of trade value.
Yes, I wrote an article about that a few weeks ago as well. Just saying it. If somebody needs to try to dupe Sacramento into making another bad deal,
which they can absolutely get duped because
always
they're horrible. You know who? Well, no, that wouldn't. I don't know what playoff team would make a move for him though.
Send him to Washington. There you go. Put him with that group of guys. That'd be another scorer. Of course, I don't know.
They're not going to the playoffs.
But
would he fit well there?
Move him to the Spurs and let him play power forward.
Who would you move him for?
You move Gasol to the bench.
Okay.
It's not like he plays defense anyways.
Very true. Very true.
So who cares if Rudy Gay's not going to be great defensively at power forward? It's not like they're getting anything from Gasol.
Maybe if you're the Pelicans, you go after him.
They got an outside shot at getting the 8th seed.
Yeah, long shot.
Go ahead
the Kings will Buddy Hield for Rudy Gay. The Kings will do it.
No, because they've already had 2 failed shooting guard experiments.
That's exactly why. Remember, they're the worst franchise, and that's exactly why they'll do it. And Buddy Hield will be a bum the rest of his career.
You sign Aaron Aflalo to sit him on the bench.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, it's not like he was doing anything, and he sucked for the Knicks. So, Aflalo thought he was freaking Carmelo Anthony when Melo got hurt.
They started to play hero ball.
Yeah,
yes, he did. Absolutely, he did.
Yeah.
Like Gerald Henderson.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, man, as a Sixers fan, I throw up every time Henderson gets the ball. It's like, just pass it off. Don't try to do anything extra.
That's what happens when these guys, these mediocre fringe guys, get on, with decent skills, get on these bad teams. They think, oh, it's my turn now. No. No. You see, Aflalo was perfect in Orlando. Played defense and hit open threes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in Denver, too.
Yeah. Then he goes to New York, and all of a sudden he thinks he's a 20-a-game scorer.
Yeah.
No.
And then, Sacramento, if you look at it, their trade chips, they don't – outside of Rudy Gay and DeMarcus Cousins, who's going to take Ben McLemore? They tried to move him numerous times. Nobody wanted him. Then you look at Costa Koufis. Nobody's going to want him, so they're not going to get equal value. And then on a Cousins trade, you're not getting back what Cousins is worth. You've already exhausted that option. So, I mean, what for the future, can you say of this franchise that's going to be anything that resembles?
And you know what?
anything
The longer they wait to make that move, the less they're going to get. They better just call up the Boston Celtics, get some draft picks and a couple young players, and then just be done with it.
They need to do something.
Yeah, I think the Celtics will be the best place. If any coach could handle Cousins, it would be Brad Stevens. I think he'll find some way to kind of make him happy. I think he'll play good with Isaiah Thomas as well.
So if you're Boston, do you try to move like, say, Jay Crowder?
You got to keep Jay Crowder.
He's your wing presence. You need that.
I mean, you'd have to give something for them.
They're going to have to give up Marcus Smart, which I don't know if that'd be the one player I don't know if I'd want to give up him. But I think they'd have to give up that Brooklyn pick. They'll have to give up Marcus Smart. Or do you give up Avery Bradley instead? Who do you value more?
That's a tough one there.
I would honestly, if I had to choose, I would give up Smart because I feel like Bradley has more of a ceiling offensively. We know they both can play D, but from what I've seen this season, Bradley can score much better. He's improving in that area, and I don't think Smart will ever be, really a great scorer, even a decent scorer. He'll always be he'll make 1 of 5 every game. So
right, and then you could throw in a guy like a Tyler Zeller for contract purposes.
Now, what if it comes to this, though? They have a deal. You're going to send Smart, the Brooklyn pick. What if they say, you know what, you got to give us Jaylen Brown?
Ain't happening.
No.
I would not risk Jaylen Brown for Cousins to implode on that team and then become a free agent anyway. I mean, that's what you're basically risking.
Not worth it.
If you're somebody like, I know they threw out Washington before. Washington's another team. It's like if you're Washington, you've got Beal and Wall on your team. Otto Porter stepped in, but that's it because Markieff Morris has regressed a little bit. Gortat's at the end of his career. Mahinmi's not scaring anybody. He's been out with injuries. And then your bench is garbage. Trey Burke. I mean, come on. You got 2 guys out of Sheldon McClellan and Daniel Achefu that should have never sniffed a roster on most teams. Now, not to take anything away from either guy, but they're not quite, to the caliber of what you would expect, a borderline playoff team to have acquired. So I don't know what the hell Washington's doing either.
I think they kind of hoped that Durant would come, in free agency. I think that was kind of what messed them up. They were so focused on Durant, they didn't even think about doing anything else. And when he didn't even get McCall, they kind of just was like, oh, well, we'll just pay Bradley Beal and move on with our lives.
See, I would have tried to move Beal. If you knew Wall and Beal weren't getting along, move Beal somewhere, get some pieces back. You might not have got great value, but say you would have moved him to Orlando or something just because, hypothetically, Beal played at Florida. You could have gotten Hazonia
and a draft pick,
Gordon or something, something, out of it, and some kind of a late, draft pick later or something, in a couple of years, something out of it. But they didn't. So, we'll see Washington in the lottery again. We'll see John Wall frustrated again. But I still think they make a minor move, come December 15th, which is 3 days away, where basically it opens up all the free agent acquisitions this offseason to be moved. So real quick, let's kind of go around. If you were to say December 15th to right at the beginning of the year, if you were to bank on one player possibly being moved, who do you think it would be? Who do you think, Chris?
I for some reason, I still believe that the Clippers are going to move Blake Griffin. I think that Blake Griffin is going to be out there before the All-Star break because him and DeAndre can't coexist in this new NBA. The high-low doesn't work, and Griffin doesn't shoot good enough out in range. When he takes 5 steps away from the basket, his percentage drops drastically. You know, and he doesn't play with enough heart defensively either, to where you need to keep a guy like him. I think they should trade him and go and get a stretch four like a Ryan Anderson. You know, they need a big guy that can do a little bit of rebounding with more shooting. So Blake Griffin is my guy. I think that the Clippers just have to get rid of him if they want to have championship chances.
Okay. Julian, who would you say maybe gets moved by the beginning of the year?
First person that came to mind was Goran Dragic, just because the Heat are just terrible, and I think they're trying to rebuild, and he doesn't fit with what they're trying to do.
Okay. What about you, Matt? What do you think?
Man, there's a few guys that could get moved, but the guy I think, you know, and Keith Smith said it perfectly, a guy to watch out for to get moved, Andrew Bogut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Because I think some teams, like Keith was saying, Portland could use a guy like Bogut. You know, there's a couple teams who could use him. So
Boston wants him bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you look at Portland, I mean, you could easily throw together somebody like Shabazz Muhammad and like Ed Davis, you know, for Andrew Bogut. I mean, easily those two pieces would help. You know, Dallas a little more than Andrew Bogut could at this point if they're going to go kind of a rebuilding route. Obviously, looking at guys, I would say look for somebody like Brook Lopez, you know, to be moved. I like to kind of go a little bold when I throw these kind of predictions out. I think Lopez has been on fire all season. Why not move him to somewhere like, you know, you could potentially, I mean, anywhere really, like, I don't know that necessarily. I heard the rumor is Boston thrown out there. I don't know that that's really going to do anything, because how do you pair Horford and Lopez together? There's no rim protection there, but definitely could see Brook Lopez move.
Another guy to watch out for, because he's been playing much better. And I think he's got an expiring contract coming. Like, he can opt out, I think. I could be wrong. But Greg Monroe could be another one to watch out for. He's playing a lot better. He's playing a little defense now.
Mm-hmm.
So he could be a guy that someone might take a chance on. And
I'm still going to go with my other choice. I have to, as a Sixers fan. Bye-bye Nerlens Noel. You know, somebody please take him so we can get this glut of the center spot.
Didn't he get injured last night?
Yeah, he hurt his ankle. But I bet he'll play Wednesday.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the Warriors would do great if they had Nerlens Noel.
Yeah, we've talked about it. Matt and I have talked about that multiple times.
I think that he would fit there perfectly. They need a rim protector, some more size. And JaVale McGee is playing decent right now, but I don't trust him in the playoffs. I do not trust him.
Ian Clark and Damian Jones, I think, for
they need to get rid of Bergeron. He's terrible.
Yeah,
nobody's taking him. Nobody's taking him. I don't. You would have to pay the team to take him.
Yeah,
can't they waive him?
I don't even know if that would happen.
I don't know. It's bad, but yeah, Nerlens Noel on Golden State would be perfect. You could even say put Nerlens Noel on a team like Dallas would be good. You know, long term. Not saying to trade Bogut for Noel or anything like that, because I don't think that would work. But maybe put him there because you'd have a rim protector. Barnes could slide up potentially if Dirk's not going to be back anytime soon. Stay at the power forward spot. Then you've got Matthews sliding up to the 3, unless you want to really see what you got out of Justin Anderson, but he's regressed as well this season. So I don't know. But that's going to basically wrap up this episode. Chris, I want to go to you and give you a chance to let everybody know where they can find you, maybe highlight some of your work, just so people can check that out.
Yeah, I'm fresh. I'm new to this. Catch me on Twitter at Simply Hoops with a Z. Got some of my writing up, really great articles. simplyhoops.wordpress.com.
Awesome. Perfect. Julian, we haven't had you on in a while, so let the people know where they can find you on Twitter and everything.
Yeah, on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at JHLNYK94.
Nice. And
Nice.
for those of you that can't figure it out, he is a Knicks fan. So rooting for Porzingis and company
If nobody knew, they would have thought I was the diehard Knicks fan here.
Yeah.
I call for those of you who might have not figured it out, they are my Knicks because I picked them to finish. I am a Bulls fan, but I picked them to finish second, the Knicks, so I have to call them my Knicks. Just like the Timberwolves are my Timberwolves because I had them in the conference finals.
Yep.
I'm owning it. I'm going to own it. I'm sticking with it.
Absolutely. Matt, I know you revised your Twitter handle, so let everybody know what that new Twitter
it is. I think you can see it on my thing, but it is at Matt UQR Podcast.
Nice. And everybody can find me at Pete Toll on Twitter. You can also go to the Unquestionably Raw Twitter page and find any of us there. Continue to go to YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a comment or two underneath each of the videos. Let us know what you like, what you didn't like. That way we can talk about it the following week, if it, just like we did here with the Raptors coverage. Continue to go to iTunes. We jumped up to number 2 again this past weekend. So I think right now we're still in the top 25. But continue to download, please. Leave us a 5-star written review. Make sure to write a little something. So that way we can continue to climb the ladder and bring you great content.
Let me do this now, Pete, since I told you about it earlier, but we got on our YouTube, we've got an entertainment section of this that we're going to start doing, and our first little podcast will be Sunday. Byron's going to be on. We're going to review Star Wars Rogue One. So everybody be on the lookout for that.
Absolutely. We do have and I'll link it in the description as well. We have a side channel that's strictly going to be entertainment, music, movies, stuff like that. So, big movie guys. So look for that Rogue One review. And they get detailed. So for all the Star Wars fans there are NBA heads that are listening.
And y'all are going to love Byron if you haven't listened to him.
Yep, absolutely.
He's a comedian.
That guy's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Warriors hater.
Yes. Yeah, he's a Warriors hater at that. So,
all
right. Well, until Wednesday night, we'll catch you guys then. I believe we're going to do 7 p.m. Wednesday.
That works. 7 Eastern. Yeah, 7 Eastern is good.
Okay, 7 Eastern Wednesday night. We're going to do surprises and disappointments for each of the Eastern Conference teams. We're going to do one for each person. So we'll do that Wednesday, and then Friday night we're going to do the same thing again for the Western Conference, and I believe we're going to have Keith Smith with us for both of those episodes. So be sure to tune in and be sure to check out all of our archived episodes on both YouTube and iTunes. Until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the Unquestionably Raw podcast.